Hey there, friends. I'm so excited to share this story with you today. A story that's raw, real, and hits you right in the heart. It's about a girl who stood alone in a courtroom, facing a system that thought it could crush her. They saw her as just another case, another name to check off, but Rosaria was her name, and she wasn't just anybody. Oh no, she was the daughter of one of the most powerful people in the country. And with one phone call, she sparked a fire that exposed corruption, shook the system, and fought for justice. This isn't just her story. It's a story for anyone who's ever felt like the odds were stacked against them. So, grab a cozy spot, drop a comment below letting me know where you're watching from, and let's dive into this incredible tale. I've always wondered what it feels like to stand in a place where the whole world seems to be against you. Can you imagine it? A 17-year-old girl, barely over 100 pounds, standing in a cold Alabama courtroom, wrists cuffed, orange jumpsuit swallowing her small frame. That was Rosaria Moore. Quiet, unassuming, with no makeup, no jewelry, just her standing there, breathing so softly you'd barely notice her. But let me tell you, she was a force, a spark waiting to ignite. In that courtroom, the air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on her. The judge, Malcolm Crane, barely looked up from his papers. He was flipping through them like they were junk mail, not someone's entire future. In the second row sat Samuel Moore. Folks called him Pops, a retired mail carrier with hands gripping the bench so tight his knuckles turned pale. He raised Rosaria after her mom left, teaching her to hold her head high no matter what. That day he was holding on to hope, or maybe just habit. It's hard to tell when the world feels like it's slipping away. The judge's voice cut through the silence, dry as dust. In the case of the state of Alabama versus Rosaria Moore, this court finds the defendant guilty on all charges. Sentenced to life in prison without parole. No pause. No explanation. Just words that landed like a punch to the gut. The room didn't react. No gasps, no cries. The prosecutor, who'd spent weeks painting Rosaria as some kind of criminal genius, didn't even blink. It was like they'd already moved on to the next case. But Rosaria, she didn't crumble. She didn't cry. Instead, she turned, slowly, deliberately, and faced the sparse crowd in the gallery. For the first time that day, she spoke. "I'd like to make a phone call." Her voice wasn't loud, wasn't angry. It was steady, sharp, like a blade slicing through the quiet. Oh la la, it was powerful. The judge raised an eyebrow, the bailiff shifted, the court reporter froze. Pops blinked just once. And me. I was floored by her courage. That moment, friends, was when I knew. This girl was about to change everything. You get one phone call in a place like that. Most people call home, a lawyer, someone to lean on. Not Rosaria. She didn't glance at Pops, didn't hesitate. She walked to that old payphone on the concrete wall, punched in the numbers like she'd rehearsed it 1,000 times, and made the call that would turn the system upside down. 1,000 miles away in Washington, D.C., the Attorney General, Leona Carter, stood at a podium, fielding questions from reporters. She was the first black woman in that role, a powerhouse in a polished suit, tossing out words like equity and reform with ease. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something, call it instinct, call it fate, made her answer. "This is Leona Carter," she said, half ready to hang up. Then a voice. Soft, steady, familiar. "It's me." Two words that stopped her world cold. Rosaria. Her daughter. The one she hadn't seen in years. The one she'd left in Birmingham to chase a bigger fight. Leona gripped the podium, her knees weak. "You once said the law protects the voiceless," Rosaria said, her voice unwavering. "Now it's your daughter who can't be heard." Oh friends, I felt that in my soul. And you, what would you have done in her place? Rosaria didn't wait for an answer. She hung up, leaving Leona in a silence louder than any press room. At that moment, I felt Leona's world crack. She'd built her life on control. Speeches, policies, power. But this was personal. This was her daughter, standing in a fire Leona had spent her career trying to put out. She didn't go back to the cameras. She walked out, heels clicking, into a hallway where she slid to the floor, her perfect facade shattered. This story teaches us that no title, no office, can shield you from the truth when it comes calling. Leona sat there, phone still pressed to her ear, the dial tone echoing. She'd trained for chaos, cameras, senators, crises, but nothing prepared her for this. Rosaria's voice had ripped through every wall she'd built, every excuse she'd told herself. She'd left Birmingham years ago, chasing a dream to fix the system from the top. She thought she could protect kids like Rosaria by rewriting laws, changing headlines. But now, her own daughter was in chains, and Leona had failed her. I've always wondered how you carry that kind of guilt. To leave your child behind, thinking it's for the greater good, only to realize you weren't there when it mattered most. Leona stood, smoothed her suit, and walked away from the press. No script, no plan, just a name, Rosaria. In her office, she opened her laptop, typed her daughter's name into the DOJ database. One file. Too thin. No defense witnesses, no clear evidence chain, just a blurry video, cropped to fit a lie. Her stomach sank. She knew this game. Edited evidence, rushed trials, favors disguised as justice. She'd built a career to stop this, yet here it was, staring her in the face. Leona dug deeper. Court records, prosecutor notes, Judge Crane's rulings. Then she found it, a memo. Rosaria's case had been fast-tracked to Crane's private docket. No oversight. His name rang bells. Too many complaints, too many convictions, too clean a record to be true. Leona's heart raced. She had a choice. Play it safe, keep her title, or burn it all down for her daughter. Friends, there was no choice. She called a contact in Alabama, someone who knew where the real records hid. This wasn't about headlines anymore. It was about Rosaria. Birmingham wasn't part of Leona's plan. She'd left at 27, a young widow with a toddler, after her husband died in a crash. The pain was too much, the city too heavy with memories. So when DC offered a fellowship, she took it, leaving Rosaria with Pops. She told herself it was for them, for a better future. But really, she was running. From grief, from responsibility, from the life she couldn't face. Years passed. Leona climbed, law school, local government, then federal. She became a symbol, the first black woman attorney general. But she hadn't seen Rosaria in over a decade. Cards, money, holiday calls. Those were her connection, not enough. That phone call shattered her excuses. Leona flew to Birmingham, walked past familiar streets, and stood at Pop's peeling porch. He opened the door, older, tired, but still standing. "What took you so long?" he asked. I felt that sting. Leona whispered. "I was wrong." Pop stepped aside. "Don't come to talk," he said. "Come to fight." Leona didn't rest. She sat up at Pop's old dining table, laptop open, diving into Crane's records. Clean on paper, but the patterns were clear. No juries, no defense, maximum sentences, especially for young black defendants. This wasn't just Rosaria's story. It was systemic. I've always wondered how many lives get buried in silence like that. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Pops set a coffee cup down, hesitating. "You remember Carol's boy, Mikey? Michael Travers, now a bailiff for Crane." Pops hinted he knew things he wasn't proud of. Leona's pulse quickened. A man on the inside. They found him at a diner, looking worn, eggs cold on his plate. "I need your help, Mikey," Leona said. He flinched, knowing what she meant. "I saw them frame her," he admitted, voice low. "Her plans for the youth center's lighting system. They twisted them into evidence." He'd stayed silent too long, scared of losing everything. "You can make it right," Leona urged. After a long pause, he nodded. "I'll tell the truth." Wow, that moment gave me chills. The truth started before the courtroom, with a notebook. Rosaria carried it everywhere. Sketches, wiring diagrams, code. To others, it was scribbles. To her, it was a mission. She'd volunteered at the Southside Youth Center, designing motion sensor lights to make the alley safer for kids. She worked late nights, Pops watching proudly. She wasn't chasing glory, she cared. And that made her a threat. Councilman David Harloan wanted the center gone for condos. A fire would clear the way, and Rosaria was the perfect scapegoat. Her notebook, left at the center, was twisted into proof of arson. Michael saw it on Crane's desk, mislabeled as evidence. The courtroom video. Cropped to lie, timestamps gone. Franchement say faux how they rigged it. Nobody asked the center's director. Nobody checked her work. They just wanted a conviction. Leona and Michael moved fast. At night, they slipped into the courthouse basement for the original footage. Michael distracted the guard. Leona, gloves on, sprayed adhesive on the camera lens and picked the lock to room 12B. Her heart pounded as she grabbed the hard drive with the truth. Rosaria locking up hours before the fire. Footsteps closed in. She climbed into a vent, crawled through tight darkness, and dropped into a maintenance corridor, drive in hand. Outside, Michael waited, stunned when she held it up. "I got it," she said. "Say incroyable." Back at Pop's, sunrise creeping in. Leona held the drive like it was life itself. Pops asked, "What's on it?" "The truth," she said. Michael confirmed it cleared Rosaria. But Pops wasn't convinced the DOJ would move fast enough. "They're pushing to transfer her to state prison," Michael warned. Leona's stomach dropped. State prison. Rosaria wouldn't survive. "I won't let that happen," she vowed. Pops pushed her to go public, but Leona hesitated. Too soon, and they'd bury the evidence. "If you wait," Pops warned, "they'll bury her." He was right. Leona reached out to Jada Banks, a fearless journalist who worked from a tiny Birmingham newsroom. Jada arrived at Pop's, no cameras, just a backpack and a fire in her eyes. Leona laid out everything. Footage, records, Michael's testimony. Jada listened, then said, "Going public means war." Leona didn't flinch. "Let them come." By sunrise, Jada posted a thread online. "Who is Rosaria Moore?" It detailed the lies, the corruption, and dropped the bombshell. Rosaria was Leona Carter's daughter. The internet exploded. Birmingham buzzed, then the country. People demanded answers. The doe couldn't stay quiet. The crowd outside the courthouse grew. Neighbors, students, leaders, all chanting Rosaria's name. Inside, Michael faced Crane's door, heart racing. Leona found him, handed him a folder with everything. "Go to the press," she said. "Tell the truth." He was terrified but stepped outside, folder raised. "I've worked here 10 years, he said, voice shaking. "It's broken." Crane framed Rosaria and others. "I have proof." The crowd roared. He handed the folder to a reporter and stepped back, free at last. Leona stood beside him, no title, just a mother. For once, she wasn't alone. Leona recused herself publicly, dodging DOJ ethics traps. Behind the scenes, she unleashed her watchdogs, trusted DOJ prosecutors and attorneys. They built a case against Crane, using Michael's testimony and the footage. Leona also met Judge Regina Hall, a legend who fought for the forgotten. "Are you ready to lose everything?" Hall asked. "I already did," Leona replied. Hall took the case. The courtroom was alive now, packed with people, no more silence. Rosaria sat in a navy blouse, no cuffs. Her attorneys, young and sharp, were ready to dismantle the lies. Judge Hall entered, her presence commanding. "This court reviews the motion to vacate Rosaria Moore's conviction," she said. The defense presented the binder. Footage, records, Michael's testimony. The prosecutor stammered, conceding to cooperate. Hall read the evidence, then ruled, "Rosaria Moore's conviction is null and void." The room erupted. Rosaria was free. But it wasn't over. Leona and Jada uncovered 57 other kids railroaded by Crane. The watchdogs exposed a pipeline of corruption. Crane, prosecutors, developers. Hall nullified all 57 convictions, ordered a federal review, and placed the court under oversight. Families wept, hugged, celebrated. Rosaria walked out, holding Leona's and Pop's hands, into a crowd chanting her name. This story taught me that justice starts with people who refuse to quit. Rosaria didn't hide. She built the Quiet Code, a program in a borrowed library room, then a corner store. Kids came, curious, learning to code, to dream. Leona watched, no longer leading, just supporting. Pop smiled from his chair. Donations poured in: laptops, books, snacks. A DOJ letter arrived. "Thank you for reminding me what justice looks like." Rosaria's quiet voice had sparked a movement. This story hit me hard. I've always wondered what it takes to stand when everything's against you. Rosaria showed me courage, truth, community. And you, what would you do in her place? Her story reminds us, your voice matters no matter how quiet. So, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's keep fighting for what's right, together. See you in the next one.